Fit in 10 Nation is day 36 of the Fit in 10 Challenge. You guys did an awesome job this morning in class. You guys are learning to be much more effective and just overall just really good with your movement production and all the exercises that we're doing. You guys are definitely stamped with or you're earning your intermediate beginner belts. Okay, I should make some and hand them out. You guys are doing really, really good. Really, really impressed with all of you. Kudos to you guys. Awesome job. Okay, listen, I'm going to send out your macros tomorrow, so be on the lookout for those. And Monday, there is no Fit in 10 class at 7 p.m. Monday, this coming Monday, February 18th, I think it is. Yeah, it's Family Day. There's no class. Okay. All right. Let's get into some questions here quickly. So somebody had mentioned that they're not getting it. They slept through their alarm. They apologize for sleeping through their alarm because they signed up for class. Don't worry about it. If you really need your sleep, get your sleep. But make sure you get well, actually, you're doing all of our classes. You got to get 5 in. So just make sure you get those 5 workouts in per week, right? If you're doing our classes. Okay, so basically, 3 boot camps and 2 lift camps. Okay, that'll take care of your workout needs. Okay, make sure you do that, but also make sure you sleep. Sleep is so important. I'm going to talk about sleep a little bit more in detail in a future video. All right, next. This person says, continue to increase weight on the compound exercise by 5 or 10%. That's awesome. You can only obviously, you can handle 5 or 10% extra weight per week if you actually did, earn that strength. But, the one thing I want to emphasize to you guys is, you can, through your mind, it may sound a little bit hokey, you can get 5 or 10% more because, part of your strength or, like when you're producing force, you're sending a signal from your brain out to your peripheral nervous system to the muscles to have the muscle fibers fire, right? So you can, to a certain extent, you have to a large extent, you have the capability of producing a little bit of force or a lot of force, right? So you can imagine that if your mind is in the right mindset, that your force production can be that much higher, right? And things that are, like things like caffeine, which are nervous system stimulants, will help with that. Okay, now I'm not suggesting doing that, but I'm just saying that, you really, really want to focus as much as you can, and you want to put as much emphasis as you can into producing force on every single rep that you do, including your warm-up sets. Okay? The reason why we do the warm-up sets is part of what I just mentioned. You want to build the neural pathway for the movement, first of all, and you can't do that effectively if you just jump to the heaviest set. Okay, this is why we do our this is why we do our build-up sets. Okay, so we learn the pattern, and part of that pattern is the movement that you go through while firing, that signal to those respective muscles that are being used. So this takes a little bit of time to get in the groove. This is why we do those warm-up sets, and this is why we go as light as we do on those warm-up sets. It's not just a matter of having the muscles warm. Okay? So, but if you do, just on a side note, if you do want to get more out of your workout, have some caffeine before you work out. Okay? It is an ergogenic aid. I always use caffeine before I work out. That is my pre-workout. I have 1 cup of black coffee. That's maybe a cup and a half I have. Maybe 2. It's closer to 2. Anyways, this person also says Russian twist. Try to actually, let me just say one more thing. You guys can expect your strength to go up faster than obviously somebody like myself. I should say this. If you are untrained, you can expect your strength to go up, right? On basically a weekly basis. All right. Yeah, I'll stop there. There's a lot more I can say actually. Okay. This person says, Russian twist, trying to minimize hip flexor engagement and then do a set with legs raised. Okay, so hip flexor engagement during abdominal, yeah, it happens. Listen, you are flexed at the waist. That is, you are bent at the waist, and we're trying to initiate that by engaging the abdomen. But you've got that intermediate quad muscle that crosses your hip, and that gets used frequently. So, well, it gets used, period. We just want to try to minimize putting the emphasis using that muscle. So basically what you want to imagine is a line from your chest down to your belly button, and imagine trying to close that line when you're doing the Russian twists and other abdominal movements for that matter. Okay? I hope that helps. Okay, let's get the food of the day here. Food of the day is salmon. Okay, salmon is one of my faves. I have this every morning. This is wild salmon. And it is packed full of nutrients like, well, first of all, it's high in protein, obviously, as you know. It's a protein source. There's no carbs. There's obviously fat in here, which is primarily polyunsaturated omega-3 fats, which is really, really good. And it's an animal source, of course, of omega-3. So you're getting basically the active ingredients, the EPA and the DHA that's in the omega-3 that has the good benefits in the body. The body gets 100% of that gets 100% out of the omega-3s that the animal product provides. And I say animal product because plant sources like flax that has omega-3, we don't have the enzymes to get that EPA and DHA out. I think maybe we get like 10% of it, okay? So basically what I'm saying is animal sources of omega-3 are much more, they're much more effective as a or more specifically an omega-3 fat, okay? Salmon's high in B12 and vitamin D and selenium and zinc. All right, so that's really, really important. All very important micronutrients. The one thing is that people get worried because they say, well, it's a fish. Is it not high in mercury? I know a lot of fish or animal life or sea life is high in mercury, and mercury is a neurotoxin, and what happens is through production of electricity, like at coal plants and smelter plants, there's a lot of byproduct that gets put in the ocean that creates or puts out mercury, and of course it accumulates through the chain of through the predator chain. So you got small sea life that are feeding on it, you got sea life that are feeding on that small sea life, and then other sea life that are feeding on that sea life. So you can imagine that the top predators in that chain are getting the most mercury, right? So things like tuna tend to be high in mercury. All right, so salmon is not, by the way, it's not to say it's mercury free, but it doesn't have a lot of mercury. In fact, it's listed as a low mercury fish, okay? But if you guys are curious, because there's a lot of different fish out there, maybe you ought to know what's high in mercury and what isn't. So I create a little list for you. High mercury fish include bluefish, grouper, the highest, let me restart. The highest mercury fish: mackerel, marlin, orange roughy, shark, swordfish, tilefish, tuna, okay? Ahi tuna is the worst. Okay, so avoid entirely. High mercury, so eat less than 2 servings per month. Bluefish, grouper, mackerel, sea bass, tuna, that's canned albacore, and tuna yellowfin. Okay, moderate mercury, eat up to 1 serving per week. Pacific cod, ocean perch, mahi-mahi, halibut, flounder, lobster, chunk-like tuna. And here is a list of low mercury fish: Arctic char, salmon, catfish, herring, sardines, shrimp, mussels, oysters, clams, scallops, trout, and Atlantic mackerel. Okay, so interestingly, king mackerel is on the highest mercury, and so you don't want to eat king mackerel, but Atlantic mackerel is okay. All right. Okay, message of the day. And this is really important. I have to remind myself this so much, believe it or not. Because you may not know this about me, and I don't want this video to be about me, but I can have a pretty negative mindset. I can have a lot of negative chatter. So this is very helpful to me, and hopefully it will be helpful to you. And I think I did write this one myself. So it goes like this. You know you're really... Man, if I could read my own writing, actually. Let me see if I can read my own writing here. All right, you know you're a lot closer to achieving the things you work towards when you encounter the failures, or mini failures, along the way. I call them mini failures because they're not true failures. Okay? So these failures are whatever. You fall down, you made a mistake, something didn't work out, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to read that again. You know you're closer to achieving the things that you're working towards when you encounter the mini failures, okay, along the way. So you can expect, and I always tell myself that whatever I'm trying to do, I tell myself I'm going to have some things that I consider to be failures as I'm working through this. Okay, I'm going to have problems. That is just expected. I mean, hey, if you can go through, I don't know anybody who can achieve anything of any great measure and not have problems along the way. You should just anticipate it. Okay, just like, in your life, you can anticipate to have bad days and good days and pain and suffering and awesome days, and it's just the way it is. You can anticipate that. It's just reality, right? So that is just it. But don't let that discourage you from trying to achieve what you're trying to achieve. It is normal. Everybody goes through it. The biggest difference between those who achieve and those that don't is those who persevere. That's really all it is, perseverance. They are relentless, okay? I'm saying this partly for myself, actually. It's really just a selfish message I'm giving, okay? But hopefully it will help you guys, all right? Okay, 12 minutes. I didn't want to swear, but I'm not going to swear. Anyways, let's wrap this up. Submit, commit, do what you got to do, you guys. Don't miss your workouts. Plan your food. You know what you have to do. Be relentless. Persist, you guys. I'll talk to you all soon. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Macro's coming tomorrow. Okay, scans coming in 2 weeks. We are at the halfway point. Keep going hard. Things are going to crank up. Be prepared. And listen, I forgot to mention here, the mercury is a neurotoxin which basically can lead to neurological issues like brain damage, dementia, Alzheimer's, numbness in your numbness in your arms and legs, irritability, and many other things. You don't want mercury in your system, okay? It can make you go loony. And also, salmon's very high in leucine. I don't think I talked about that. Leucine is one of the branched chain amino acids. It's one amino acid that's in protein, not all proteins, but in animal source proteins more so. Salmon's very high in leucine, and that is the amino acid that is responsible for turning on protein synthesis, so helping to build muscle, helping to maintain and repair muscle. Leucine, the most important amino acid when it comes to maintaining, preserving, and building muscle. Okay? So, just FYI. Talk to you guys later. See ya.